audio. Have arisen from the dead to make this video, so I'm a little bit of a zombie right now. Oh, that's from a while ago. Did I remember to do my tee shot last week? Yeah, I did. One question that I get asked a lot, both by you all and by other people who I meet in real life, is when did you start rock climbing / how long have you been rock climbing? And that's a really strange question for me because there's like two answers. Because I started when I was really young, but I haven't been actively doing it until recently. So a lot of the times when people ask that, I will respond with how old was I when I started, or how long have I been like consistently doing it as a workout, because there is a multi-year gap in between the two. So for the first answer, when did I actually start rock climbing? I started, it's gonna be 9-10 years ago, and oh my god. And this wasn't just like going to like a field day or a mall where they have a rock wall and you just do it every now and then. This was consistently doing it like every week for a Friday night kids program. And I'm really like lucky that I was able to get into it. My mom sort of found the sport. This is when it wasn't big, because it's had a massive resurgence because of American Ninja Warrior, since it is like the closest thing that any young kid can do related to that, other than going to specific like American Ninja Warrior gyms. So this was before that time, and it makes me feel really old because it means I have been rock climbing for like half my lifetime. But anyway, we only had one gym where I live, and it was at the time a top rope gym, which means that you had ropes, harness, and had to be belayed. So my mom signed me up, and I would do a Friday night program with two of my friends who I went to elementary school with, my childhood best friend, and then another person that we just like did activities with. So that was really fun. And then the reason why I stopped is because I reached a point where I was progressively more advanced than most of the other kids in this Friday night group. And it's funny because my climbing buddy Paige was also climbing at this gym at the same time, and somehow we just didn't like ever interact with each other. And she did the Friday night thing too, but that was strange, but it was cool to figure out. Anyway, as a child, I did one competition. It went horribly. I think it was daunting to be a first competition, and top rope competitions are a little bit different than bouldering comps. So I only did one youth comp, and that was at the end of sort of my climbing career because I was transitioning from elementary to middle school, and as I said, I was getting more advanced than all the other kids, and even though I did take it seriously, I could have done sort of a Saturday afternoon program, but it just didn't work with my schedule. By the way, at the time, I think I mentioned this gym was only top roping. The bouldering section that exists now was being built when I was there, and it had just like barely finished, or portions of it had just finished when I left. So fast forward to modern day, this May will be 2 years of consistently rock climbing. And then, mind you, there was a big like 6-month gap when I really wasn't actively doing it when I went to college. So I'm really proud of how I have advanced, because I remember the first problem that Paige and I really had trouble with and projected for fun, we didn't know what anything was called and no rock climbing terms were known, was a V2. And then I just sent my first V8 like last week. I mean, that's kind of crazy. Some people will never do that in their lifetime. And then how I got back into it was my bouldering gym opened, it'll be 3 years in March. And at that time, I was a senior in high school. Paige and I kind of wanted to get into CrossFit, but like the gym that we emailed never emailed us back about scheduling. So we were like, let's go do this rock climbing, since we both used to do it as a kid. And we just kind of like fell in love with it, which was awesome. And what made it different from top roping is With this bouldering gym, I can boulder in my old gym, but they don't reset the problems often enough that I would like. Like, I could go back now, 2 years later, and the bouldering problem that I projected when I started would probably still be up. Because there's no ropes or harnesses and you don't have to rely on someone to belay you, you're able to do it on your own, which is really big for me because not only do I like doing things on my own, but a lot of the times I have trouble getting people to do things with me, especially heavy intensive sports like this, and I'm able to make it fit to my own schedule. So that's kind of the story behind my rock climbing. I'm really happy that it happened, and I'm really lucky it happened. And then it also just, I enjoy bouldering so much more than sport climbing or top roping. From what I can remember and what I feel now, I just enjoy it so much more. It's a lot more challenging to me because, for one, the problems are shorter and you have just such a wide range of them, where with sport climbing you do have a wide range as well, but for my personal taste, I get a lot more from bouldering than I would sport climbing. But that just might be my feelings on it now because I haven't done any sport climbing in like years. I do it very rarely. So, for anyone thinking about rock climbing, don't let the fear phase you out because it's a lot of fun and it's a great workout, and I highly suggest you trying it. It's one of those sports where if you go the first time and you're not really too hot about it, go again, because it's one of those activities that you fall in love with over time. Don't let one bad experience trip you out and never want to go again. Because I also get that question, like, how do I start rock climbing? You find a gym and you go.